Look at emails sent by a recent graduate during their first week on the job, and you'll almost always find a dense wall of text. They start with greetings, move into background context, list every step they took, and finally, at the very bottom, hide the actual reason they are writing. This is the result of a lingering habit called student mode. In college, you are graded on the attempt. You show your work to prove you did the reading. But in a professional setting, the focus shifts to the outcome. Your manager doesn't need to see the effort. They need the result. To bridge this gap, we are going to conduct a 5-email audit. This process builds a reusable communication system known as the BLUF protocol. Adopting this rigid communication style changes the focus of your writing from what you did to what the reader needs to know. It signals that you are prioritizing the objectives of the business over your own academic habits. A professional reputation is rarely built on a resume. It's built on the stories colleagues tell about your work. When describing a project, they use a structure like challenge, action, result. But long, winding messages shift the narrative to the effort required to decipher them. This erodes your reliability. In a high-stakes environment, respecting a colleague's time is a fundamental form of professional etiquette. Every extra minute someone spends decoding your message is a minute taken away from their own priorities. It is common for new hires to feel that being too direct is rude. There is an underlying fear that getting straight to the point with a senior manager will be perceived as demanding. In practice, the opposite is true. Protecting a manager's schedule by providing necessary information up front is a sign of professional deference. Precise communication leaves little room for interpretation. When your requests are clear, you reduce follow-up questions and prevent misunderstandings before they disrupt a project. This transition to efficient communication is how you actively shape your reputation. You are moving away from reporting problems and toward providing actionable information. The mechanic for this clarity is the BLUF protocol. BLUF stands for bottom line up front. On the left, a standard email buries crucial information at the bottom. On the right, a BLUF email leads with the ask or result. 3 brief bullet points provide necessary context, and a concluding sentence establishes clear next steps. Forcing your thoughts into the structure prioritizes the recipient's time. You are making the conscious choice to filter your own work so the reader doesn't have to. To build this habit, open the Sent folder in your email client. Look at the top 5 messages you recently sent to colleagues. We are going to evaluate these messages using the 3-second test. This is a benchmark for professional clarity. Open the first email. Can the person receiving this message find the core ask within exactly 3 seconds? Find one email from that list that failed the test. Open a new blank draft and prepare to rewrite it using the BLUF framework. Move the conclusion from the bottom to the very first sentence. Then take all the backstory and compress it into 3 short bullet points. This audit moves the BLUF framework from a theory you've heard to a system you've used. You now have a concrete example of how to prune unnecessary detail from your daily workflow. Compare the visual layout of your rewritten email against the original version. Notice the difference in density and focus. The streamlined version removes the ambiguity that often leads to long follow-up threads. It shows that you have processed the information and identified what matters before hitting send. Professional confidence is often a result of using reliable systems. By repeating protocols like BLUF, you create a consistent standard for your work that others can rely on. Save your rewritten draft as a reference template. Using this structure for your next communication marks the transition from documenting your effort to delivering actionable results.